Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Kuth Stumbles Through for Cobalt Core. This is like Slay the Spire kind of meets FTL, and honestly, I freaking love this game. It is probably one of my top, if not my favorite game for this year so far, of games that aren't pre-early access and stuff like that. I've done about 5 runs, but we're going to be going with a new save file today, and just everyone can kind of experience from the beginning. This game is absolutely amazing so far. You just start off as a cat, because why not? The music gives me very much like Rivals of Ether vibes, I guess would be the best way to put it. Hello? And here we are. We're just at Red Rescue Team. We're asleep and somebody's waking us up. For those of you that played that all those years ago for the Game Boy Advance SP. Okay. Was enough time to fully restore your memories. I forgot the dialogue in this actually just makes me laugh. How do you do those? I assume? Who knows? We'll find out, probably. Alrighty. Draw 5 cards every turn, so very Slay the Spire-like for those of you who've done that. The nice wrinkle in this, though, each card costs energy. I mean, again, this is Slay the Spire quite a bit. Nice wrinkle in this, though, is your ship will actually move throughout the combat. So we'll kind of explain it as we go. So, and the positioning of your, like, our cannons there, and that makes a difference. You have to line it up with where you want to hit on the enemy ship. Another one of those games where you can always see what the enemy's going to do. How hard can it be then? It'll be fine. Okay, so this is like our maximum block. This blue is like permanent block. It'll last from turn to turn, but not from combat to combat. If we were to do this, which is like the reddish purple, it will give us a temp shield. It'll block 1 damage, but then it will go away at the start of next turn. But that can exceed your capacity. I think here it makes sense just to go pew pew. Nice. And then we end turn. Okay, we can just avoid that. So here's where the movement comes in. The evade. So yeah, and then this lasts turn to turn as well, but not combat to combat. So we're going to skip the slide to the left part and just slide to the right. Cool. 2 things we can do. We don't really need the temp shield. So I can just do this to draw some Nope, no damage. We don't need the temp shield, but we can do that. So that's 1 coming in. We might have an evade. So we can just reshuffle. So we'll do a draw shot. Here we go. And then go boom, boom. And block that coming in. So these colors actually line up with the people on your ship. It's like Dizzy, as you can see, is for shielding and shield manipulation. Riggs, who I personally love, is flexible movement and card draw. I mean, evasion and getting more cards. What's not to love? And then Parry is attacks and instant movement. So like this one would be from Parry. So kind of like how classes, I'm going to refer a lot of things back to Slay the Spire. Kind of like how classes in Slay the Spire had their own cards and that you could draw from and be offered to you. This is kind of like having 3 available decks available to you, 3 available sets of cards. But we have nothing coming at us, but they're going to be doing stuff, so we just got to see if we can do 4 damage this turn with 3 energy. We'd have to draw multi-shot, so let's do this. We did not. So you can just kind of do that. It's important to note that the action within the card will happen top to bottom. So if we go look at this lunge we just played, we'll move to the right and then fire a 1 damage shot. That's pretty important later on. We'll just do that. And move it on. The enemy ship will reposition at the end of their turn as well. And that adds a whole new wrinkle to things. We got through their shields. I should have pointed that out and then just finished off. Huzzah! Warp prep. So at the beginning of combat, we get a shield and evade. Evade is the one that let us move side to side. Ooh. So this just moves us to the right 3. So this, we get an evade every turn, but costs 3. And exhaust is kind of the same. Extra battery. If you right-click on a card, you can see the upgrade path. Every card has 2 upgrades available to it. So this one would look the same, except this allows us to flip it. So instead of going to the right 3 spots, we'd go to the left. And then this, we'd do a damage, and then we'd scoot over 3 to the left. Or 3 to the right, sorry. So this is always nice. We can look up here at our deck. We only have like 1 thing to draw us extra cards. I'm going to try out Ace. The extra maneuverability every turn might be nice. Alright, starting to remember. Hyperdrive. We blew it up. See, for whatever reason, this dialogue just hits me different. Alright, so basically we're just heading to a Cobalt, and we're gonna go try to stop a time loop. So, here we are. This is very Slay the Spire-like. You can plan out your, route ahead of time with the midpoint of treasures. So I'll probably aim for these, for the elites. I guess they're unusually strong enemies. I'm just going to call them elites. So we're going to go just for a normal combat. So here, we're going to launch an object. Don't know what it is. And then we'll also have one coming in at us. So doesn't really matter in general where you hit on the ship right now. Later on, there will be some strategy on where you want to hit on the ship. We have 1 evasion, so I kind of just want to draw 2 to see what it's like. Fire off a multi-shot. And then we can lunge. So while we won't do a damage because we'll move 2, so our cannon will line up just off, we won't have to spend this evade. And we can save it for future turns. Now it's all the way over there. Objects in the mid-row between you and the enemy ship and can block attacks. They're much weaker than the ship and will be destroyed if they're hit by anything at all. So if we don't hit that, it'll do 3 damage to whatever's in this row, which is us. So we have this coming in. So like we could move, we actually don't even have to move. We could just play the ace here. We do have a shield and that would miss. So let's give this a shot, and we'll just call it a turn. Our shield will block the one coming in. Now we have to worry about this. So we would want to destroy that. But then they have 2 more coming in. It's like we could use this. So we can move over 1. Fire a shot because it'll hit their wing here. And then scramble. Like this. 1, 2. We could also... Yeah, we should scramble. And then we have 1 left over for next turn. So if we can find a way to block the 2 coming in... So we'd have to get like that. So we could lunge. We didn't get it. So I definitely want to avoid that. Because that's going to do 3. Unless, actually we don't have to. We can slide 2 to the right, which will line us up with this, and use our 1 remaining energy to do a multi-shot. 1 will destroy the missile, 1 will hit the wing, and we'll avoid that. So we'll do 1, 2, multi-shot. There we are. I am usually pretty risk adverse, so I'll usually go for preventing damage rather than doing as much as I can, but it also depends on the situation. We're already lined up. As long as we do 2 damage, we're fine. Pew pew. Nothing to it. All right. So hand cannon. X is equal to the number of cards in our hand, then we attack. That can be very helpful. Button mash. I was just playing Smash Bros. Earlier, so this will definitely stick in my head. So 3 shields immediately. We move left 3 and gain evade. And you can see the upgrade paths here. It does exhaust if we were to use it. And then deflection. I kind of like deflection. You do 2 damage and gain 2 shields. Let's give that a shot. Doesn't really matter, so we'll go for the top one. So this little guy is going to be harder to hit. I don't want to use Ace here because we'll run out of energy and still take a damage. So I think... fire that. This is what I was hoping for. Block shot. This gives a temporary shield, but more than enough to deal with that. And then we're good. So now he has a status. Oh, they're already on it. So whenever we would hit them with a shot, they will completely move out of the way to the right. So if I were to do... trying to find a good way to put this. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah. So this will miss. They are completely out of the way now. So it just barely grazes by them. But now we can lunge. Because that moves us 2 to the right, so we're lined back over. We get a point of damage down. And we have the temporary shield and the regular shield from deflection. I don't think we really want to get hit by that. Now they're going the other way. So what we can actually do this to force them to move. We can move out of the way 1, and then we can just gain 2 shields like so for future turns. They don't have a status this time, so we gotta see if we can deal 4. There's that. Yeah, we can. Boop. There we are. Now or never. So we don't... so we can get 3 evade, but we have to use it all up. Or else we lose it next turn. One of its upgrades is that it doesn't exhaust. That's kind of cool. Here's something we haven't come across before. Pulse barrier. Shield capacity. So right now we have 4 maximum shields. This would raise it to 5 and then give us another one as well. I'm going to take that. Especially going into this. There's a pirate hailing us. How can you tell they're pirates? They have a big skull painted on their hull. Ah. Yep. That's what I just love it. It's great. It's quirky. So here's a whole bunch of mid-row objects as well. So we gotta find a way to deal with that. Seems like the easiest solution would be slide 2 to the right. So we do have lunge, so that would do the trick for us. I don't really want to draw cards. We have enough energy in our hand. So I'm just going to fire 1 and then get another shield. I didn't want to draw something that we'd want but wouldn't be able to play. You know, like Ace. It doesn't look like we can do it anyway. So we're taking 4. So we could do this. We can do... because we can't get all the way out of the way. Also, heat. This is something we'll deal with later as well. If heat is at 3 or more at the end of the turn, we overheat and take a hull damage, which goes through shield. But it doesn't matter how much heat we go over by. We'll still just take 1. So if you're going to go over big. So we're blocking this much. We can actually do this and then still be all right. We have the 2 plus the 2 temp shields. Gets us an extra point of damage in. There we are. Now we're at 2 and we have to be a little more careful. See, part of me again wants to use one of these. Use deflection. And then lunge to get out of the way of all but the 2. Try to figure out. Because we can get, yeah. So that's going to absorb that attack, but we don't have to worry about it. We could also move over, multi-shot, and then like a basic dodge lunge. And get out of the way. So we do this. And then avoid everything. Because I don't want to get hit by another heat and take a hull damage. So if we move over 2, we avoid that. So we're probably going to have to scramble. So if we just hit it with one thing. And then scramble. Out of the way. So now that asteroid's gone. Oh, that's already lined up. And we don't have great damaging cards. So I'm just going to get the shot in. We'll increase our shield capacity. And then that's fine. Now we have no asteroids to hide behind, though. So we're going to have to get over to our right 3. Or else take some damage. We have 2. So, I mean, we could just stay here and get damage in. We'll block everything and take a hull damage the next turn if we don't KO them. But I think that's the... So now we gotta deal with that. So we're gonna take a hull damage. I don't think we can really... We can do this. We can go... Evade. We're gonna take an extra one, but... I actually think I could have KO'd him there. I screwed up. Kind of have to plan your turns out better than I have been. We still got it. We're down 2 health, though. But now we get more unusual cards like you would expect from a elite in Slay the Spire. So this corrosion beam, this status will be applied to the enemy wherever they are. That's kind of cool. So it deals 1 hull damage at the end of every turn, but it exhausts. Unfortunately, the upgrades don't. Not exhaust. Enhanced magazine. This just gives us shiv beginning of every turn. We just get a chip shot. This could be really nice for cutting through, like if the enemy has drones in the mid row and stuff. So there's this. Also, endless magazine that doesn't exhaust, so you can just constantly get more and more. And then now or never, which we saw earlier. Let's go endless magazine. It's fun. And then, yes, there are artifacts as well. There are character-specific artifacts that can be very powerful. So every 4th turn gave it an overdrive. Add 1 damage to all of our attacks. Could work well with magazine, but it goes down by 1 at the end of a turn. Armored Bay, our missile bay, which is a part on our ship, gains a piece of armor, which means it takes 1 less damage. And jumper cables. Just a little bit. Let's try Overcharger. And then we're in here. So it doesn't really matter. It's the same path. Take up top. Alright, so this is a shield drone they have out. So if we don't KO it, they'll continuously get shields. They're going to launch something else. So, we can do an endless magazine, so we always get a shot. Just over, and then 1 multi-shot. The first one will destroy it. Next one will do damage. To the shield. So now we gotta see if we can get over to that. So yeah, we can go like basic dodge, move, use our chip shot to destroy that. And then a deflection. Do 2 damage. And get shields now. We're not going to need the temporary shields, but... This won't give them a shield because they're not lined up, so this is just our main concern right now. We just use a chip shot like that. I'll get rid of 1. Let's draw some extra cards, see what we're working with. That works. So we can just do multi-shot, and then this doesn't really matter. We could get more for later and increase our capacity, but I think while we have them lined up, I'm just going to try to do it damage when we can. Scramble, there's chip shot. There's ace as well, but I don't... We could take that, and then we'd have more maneuverability, because we have the 2 shields. So we can do the 1 damage with the chip shot. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna play ace, and now we have an evade every turn. Now we have all of these that we need to try to evade. So this sends us the wrong direction, unfortunately. What we can do, chip shot to get rid of the shield. We have 1 evade, so we can go ahead and press basic dodge. This gets us out of the way of those. Basic shot, and then just a shield for later. Now is when I wish I had to lunge. I don't think we get over. No, we don't have enough evasion to get over now. And I don't want to use my 1. Like, we could use 1 to get closer. Yeah. So it's how do we want to do this best? This would give us more capacity. So let's actually do this. Let's move over 1. That will hit us. But if we do this and then shoot that one down, we'll have plenty of shields for next turn. Chip shot won't hit anything, so we'll hold off. They're back in our range, and we just have to do 3. Chip shot will help. Multi-shot will finish it off. There you go. You guys can kind of see how moving back and forth is important. That's why I love rigs. That's kind of cool. Evasive shot's always nice. And there's another deflection. I like evasive shot. Go ahead and pick that up. Now we get another artifact. Overclock generator. Gain 1 energy every 3rd turn. Hey. Energy's energy. Alright, we want to get away from that if we can. So the question is... It should be fine. We got the overcharge. Too bad we don't have multi-shot. But we can do this. So if we do deflection evasive maneuvers, that'll give us 2, and we can get out of the way of those and still do a decent amount of damage. Boop. 1, 2. Yep, so see, we're getting so many cards. Lovely. But at least we can hopefully... We can take this turn and actually just play ace. It's not exciting, but it gives us some flexibility later on. So if we lunge, we're going to miss. And we have the extra energy from overclocked. But how we won't miss is if we move 1 to the left, lunge, and then endless magazine, and then we can choose how we want to spend the rest. We could just do an extra damage. So we'd go 1, lunge. We actually need 1 more. I screwed up my orientation, so we'll do this, and then basic dodge, and get out. Our shields could have taken it, but why bother? We're getting a bunch more cards, so let's just see how much damage we can do. We have a draw shot. We're going to use the chip shot. Try to see how much damage we can still do. We can do evasive shot, so we have something for later. Like, we have an evade for later. These do stack, like I said, and then just lunge because it looks fancy. Doesn't really matter where we are for these cards. Here they are. Such fun. Here's our overclock. We're not going to be able to get through. So we have 3. We could play all 3. We're going to play chip shot. This for shields. Perfect timing. Exactly what we needed. Now we have these. So escalate, overdrive, add 1 damage to all attacks. So this costs 0, and then that just gets retained. So it just stays in our hand until we play it, which is kind of nice. Juke, instantly move 3 spaces in a random direction. I'm not a huge fan of that. And then big shield, which I'm going to avoid. Let's try the escalate. That could be kind of cool. And we'll go for another tough one. Oh boy. So many guns. Oh, the pirate's telling us there's a big bounty out for a ship with our registration. Great. Thanks for letting us know. Go. It's great. All right, now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. This part is brittle. Here's where some more tactical maneuvering comes in. We're gonna want to aim for that part. So. We can move. I'm thinking we move evasive shot, endless munitions, basic block. We won't get to use that, but I think having the endless munitions is going to be a big help. There's that. Basic block. And then our shields block that. So again, we want to get there, but then we'd be taking 3. So we have 1. Even this wouldn't quite get us there. We'd still be taking 1. But we'd do 4. No, we wouldn't. We'd take 2. If we just did this, we can just chip away. Deflection. And then we can either get a dodge for later. Lunge, which would put our leftmost flank here, so we'd only lose our temporary shield, or we can just get more shield capacity. Kind of like the idea of doing damage. Ooh, 3 coming in. Not a good time to strafe, or to ace. We can scramble out of the way of that, no problem. So if we were to, like, multi-shot... We could, like, multi-shot scramble. Can't forget about chip shot. We should have... Oh, these are lining up. So we have an extra energy and we do extra damage. So we definitely want to get here. Yeah. We're going to go there, because now all of our damage is doubled. We're going to draw. Chip shot's going to do 4. You can see how much difference brittle makes. And then just for fun, deflection. Yeah, brittle makes such a huge difference. Rev the engines. Hermes boots. Whenever we move, we'd move 1 further. But we lose at the end of the turn. It gets retained, which is nice. But I'm not a huge fan of that, because it doesn't allow us to be as precise. It's either this, which just hits them wherever, but costs 2 energy, or this again. Boost capacitors, which I kind of like, actually. 2 shields and increases it. We'll give it a shot. All right, premeditation, this guy. Lets us move 2 spots to the left or right for free, and it gets retained. Heal booster, whenever we heal 1 more, or regenerator after 3 dizzy cards, which are the blue ones, which we have a decent amount. We'd get a shield. Thing is, if we're playing that many, I'm not sure we're going to need more shields, so I'd rather have the movement. Alright. So we can upgrade, remove, or repair. We're only down 2 hull. So let's upgrade a card. We saw a couple cool ones in there. Which ones were we looking at? So we saw this one. where we can play it over and over, or it also does damage. We saw Ace, where it also gives movement or cost less. Escalate, where it's retained, or is free. Either one. The free might be nice. Actually, I'm kind of thinking we go with the free. Let's try that. Let's try Escalate for free. There's not really a reason to not play it whenever we draw it. Alright. Big crystal? That, yes, that is indeed a big crystal. Yep. Alright, well said. So we can definitely escalate. We're taking 1. Let's escalate. Draw to see what we get. And we're blocking it, so we could, rather than doing 3, we could just do 4. But not have the shields for later. I think I'm going to do 1 less, but have 2 shields for later rather than nothing. Again, this gets saved, so it gives us some maneuverability. Like now if we wanted it. So I don't think we need to. We could actually... We can just move over an Ace. It gets it out of our deck. Gives us some maneuverability from turn to turn. Like, we don't have a ton of damage here anyway. So I think next turn we get an extra energy. Yeah. So we're taking 4. So, like, right now, I kind of want to just endless... Like, we could take the 4. We can do endless munitions. So we have the chip shot. And then if we just play these 2, we'll be fine. If we just play this, we'll be fine, too. And then we can get off a multi-shot or an evasive shot. I think the multi-shot is fine. We already have some pretty decent maneuverability with the Ace. We do that. Pew. Alright, we're taking 3, which I'm not as crazy about. We have lunge, though, and we have extra damage this turn. So we can just go lunge, chip shot. We can just move out of the way. We still have 2 damage left. I think just that. And we have that, not this turn, but next. Okay, we probably want to avoid this. Trying to figure out, like, our ship is 5 wide. Where is the 5 that's the least? I think it's just, like, off their side. So we could use this to get over for sure. We have 3 evade, though, so we might not have to. So we just need to move 3. Yeah, this should be fine. So we can go... Chip shot's free. Multi-shot gets a little more damage in. This would be fine. 3. We avoid everything. But now you can see that it's starting to ramp up and more stuff's coming in. Alright, the 1's not bad. We have the extra energy this turn. So I kind of want to do this. We can flip this around and use it. So we're back in range. We don't even have to. Like, we're going to take 1. If we just move over 1, we'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. I don't want to shuffle my deck here because I want to get, like, deflection back in the rotation. So we can escalate. It's like, am I okay now not having these in? I think I'm just going to do scramble and keep the evasion for later. Rather than draw something we wouldn't be able to use because we didn't have enough energy. Alright, that's a lot of damage. But we can avoid it. We have this again. So they're at 7. Let's see what we draw. Like, we're fine. We're taking 4, which we'll be able to take. There we are. There's the multi-shot. I was hoping to pair up with that, and then we have it. No problem. It was a chance, but it wasn't much of a downside because we were going to get it anyway. So now we got to pick a card. Man, it really wants us to take this Corrosion Beam. Endless Magazine again. This is a cool one. It costs 3, but its damage equals the total damage of enemies' cannon attacks. Against some like elites and bosses, this can really do a ton of damage. One of the upgrades is that you just hold it. I'm going to go with that. And then draw +2 cards every turn. We're offered 1 less card in post-battle. We no longer skip any card rewards. We don't have a ton of energy to take advantage of. That is the thing. And we don't have, like, hand cannon that we were offered earlier. Protect 22. Permanently gain +1 max shield on pickup. Gaining shield at the start of every turn. If shield is already full, we take damage. So, like, again, the extra shield's always nice. We just have to be careful. And then shield burst. Every time we gain any shield, that's big. That could really just let us stay without the maneuver. Let's try that. First time we've killed it. How many times? We don't want to know. What even was it? Time crystal. Seen microscopic ones. Okay. Alrighty, so that wraps up the first Let's Call It act. We're going to wrap it up here. I will be releasing the second episode, hopefully in the coming days. Thank you for watching, everybody. Check out this game. It is absolutely amazing. And if you have any questions, let me know down below. If you have any other games you want me to see, let me know down below. Have a great one. Take care.